listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. It's going to be another great show. As promised, or your money back. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM and streaming live at cklu.ca as we do each and every weekday morning between 7:30 and 8:30. We get off to a little bit of late start every once in a while because as a one-man operation, you never know. There's all kinds of things to take care of before the show. Not much time. It's a volunteer show to begin with. And so being able to prepare for what we're going to be talking about, prepare the actual technology for the show, get everything up and running. You know, sometimes we're off to a little bit of a late start, but we get up and running no matter what. So while you're on cklu.ca, if you're going to be streaming us, you click on the Radio Player Canada app. And you can stream us if you download the Radio Player Canada app. You can take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device, as they say. But while you're there, just check out the merch that we have and see if there's anything that you are interested in, because buying our merch helps support the station. And also, if you already have the merch or you don't need it and you still want to support it, you just hit support us and you can make a donation. This is your campus and community radio station, been around since 1984, and it relies on your support. And without your support, we wouldn't have your station. So thank you, everyone that supports CKLU. Have supported it in the past, continue to support it, and if in the future you're planning on supporting it, I'm thanking you ahead of time. So thank you very much. We're also streaming live at facebook.com and youtube.com. both /Sudbury News, right? So facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel and the page. Mainly comment. We'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen for those watching, read for those listening. After a while, though, we're not able to read all the comments just because, you know, we have time to also talk about the news. We need time to talk about some of the news stories. That's the name of the show, Sudbury News Talk. And so that's that. The show can also be found on demand afterwards on those two platforms, along with twitter.com/Sudbury News and Sudbury.news, which is our local news aggregator, which we created in response to the government's policy making it impossible to share news on the largest platform, Facebook and Instagram. So you can just go to Sudbury.news and you get Sudbury Star, Sudbury.com, CTV, CBC, all aggregated into one convenient location. So you don't have to go searching around for the news. You can easily find it on one page on the internet. Just type in Sudbury.news into your web browser, into the address bar, and voila. Bob's your uncle, as they say. Let's dive in with a little bit of weather. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. And Sudbury weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. Currently it's 4 degrees out there. Light drizzle today, cloudy with a 40% chance of showers or drizzle. Fog patches dissipating in the morning, and the high will be 6 tonight. Cloudy, 40% chance of showers or drizzle early in the evening. Rain beginning in the evening, about 10 to 15 millimeters. Tonight, and the low is plus 3. Getting a little cooler, not as cool as it could be though. Thursday, rain again, ending in the morning, then cloudy with a 40% chance of showers, high of plus 4. So very wet couple of days, and all throughout the week as we look at the extended forecast. 40% chance of showers, 4 degrees tomorrow, 40% chance of showers and 6 degrees on Friday, 40% chance of showers or flurries on Saturday with a high of 3, for 30% chance of rain or flurries on Sunday with a high of 0. And Monday, cloudy 2, and Tuesday, cloudy -2. So your high is -2 on Tuesday, November the 26th. So we got to say, if you take everything into consideration, not too bad for this time of year in terms of temperature, but the precipitation, we have quite a bit. And you can see on the satellite here that mass formation of cloud coming in from the west with a lot of the precipitation in it. Very cloudy for the next 6 to 7 days. That's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. And we're back, and we have quite a few people joining us this morning, as usual, and I'd like to give some shout outs and give some morning salutations. Nana is on YouTube. Good morning. Blessings to everyone. Good morning to you, Nana. Much appreciated. And we got David back again this morning. Good morning. Here for the hat trick 3 days in a row. You're on a roll, David. That's awesome. And much appreciated. Thanks for being on. And thanks for, giving me the opportunity to share a little of my story yesterday, my background with, businesses and what I've been up to the last few years, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But thank you very much, David, for that. And Judy on Facebook, good morning to you, Judy. Thanks for being with us. Hope you're having a great morning along with Marianne. Good morning, everyone from Barrie, liked and shared as usual. And Denise, blessings, everyone. Heart emoji. Brian, good morning. Sudbury Patriots, feeling accomplished. Got all my Christmas shopping done early. Well, isn't that an accomplishment? I was going to say an accomplishment for a guy, but I know a lot of gals who are able to accomplish that, but it's not often you got the guys doing their Christmas shopping early. So, hey, that's one for the boys. Thanks a lot, Brian, for sharing that. And a reminder maybe to everybody to do the same, as long as you're not ordering something through Canada Post, right? As they are still on strike. Debbie, good morning to you with a smiley emoji. Thanks for being on. And Belinda, good morning. Hope you're having a great morning. As usual, you have a positive statement of the day. A rich person is not someone who has more, but someone who desires less. The world needs a big dose of simplicity. Heart emoji. So that is pretty awesome, and it is true. If you're content with what you have, you're always rich. You always feel rich. You always feel like you have abundance because you're not wanting more. If you're able to live on what you have, and that's not the easiest principle to live by or to get used to, but live within your means. Live so that way you don't need or feel you need the next best thing, the greatest thing, You don't have to keep up with the Joneses. I learned this pretty early on. Not early on. I learned this throughout my life. To just have a working vehicle, a good, solid working vehicle. I don't need the nicest vehicle or the newest vehicle. I need a dependable vehicle. And I was able to accomplish that. And, it really saves on car payments. And, someone might say, oh, you got a rust spot in your car. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. And what does that rust spot do other than make somebody else go, wow, he's got a rust spot on his car. I don't have any car payments. You pay whatever. We had a really great deal, and it doesn't happen all the time. I paid way too much for vehicles in the past and was ripped off many times. But in the particular case we're in now, we only paid like $2,500 for a certified Toyota Camry that one of them only had 33,000 kilometers on it. And we have another one, is basically a twin of that. We paid the same thing, had 79,000 kilometers on it. And we have a wonderful mechanic. He's great. His health, he ran into a little bit of health issues lately, so thoughts and prayers go out to him. But he's very honest. He goes above and beyond, and he even found us one of those vehicles, and we're really grateful for that. So that's the way we're kind of going these days, and all that to say, to go on a rant from what Belinda was talking about, that a rich person is not someone who has more, but someone who desires less, and the world needs a big dose of simplicity. And again, thanks for that, Belinda. It really puts us on a good tone each and every morning. It creates a positive tone, I should say. Vin, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. And Rick, good morning, everyone. Thanks for being on too. Hope you guys are having a great morning. Finally finished my roof yesterday. A good feeling. Well, I guess so. It would be. Roofs are big jobs and much needed, right? If you don't got a good roof, a lot can happen. Manik, good morning, Sudbury. You got your cloudy emoji there with some rain. And yes, unfortunately, that's what we got today and tomorrow. Nice to see the video of Sock Boy at Diddy parties making the rounds. Okay, you had said the same thing yesterday as well. So, okay. And then you also yesterday sent me a video through Messenger, which I don't think I can play because I'm currently, I don't know, in some kind of probation on YouTube for sharing a video that mentions certain people's names, and that person's name is in that video that you had sent me yesterday. I guess there's certain untouchable people you cannot mention on YouTube. I found that out the hard way. And one of them is Mr. William. The name sounds like Bates, but begins with a G. That person is untouchable on YouTube. If you mention him in a derogatory way, at least on this show, you'll get banned or get a strike. And also, good old JT, our Prime Minister, mentioning his name will also, it's very sensitive for YouTube somehow. He must have some friends in high places at YouTube and Google. And the mention of his name or anything derogatory is really hard, especially the fact that he was found on the list or whatever, there's video found of him at these Diddy parties. Who would have guessed that our own Prime Minister would be one of those people found going to the P. Diddy parties? You know, I wonder if that will come out in Canadian media. I doubt it, since he's paying for Canadian media. It's hard to bite the hand that feeds, correct? But anyways, thanks for sharing that video. I so wanted to play it on the show today, but yeah, I also want to be able to be on YouTube because it's kind of important at the moment, and maybe in the future as we move on to other platforms or whatever, we can share things that YouTube won't censor or ban us. Good morning, Mike. Thanks for being on. Great Wednesday morning. Hump day today, getting through the week. And Marianne, yes, it has gone viral. Smiley emoji or grinning emoji anyways. And Vin says, blackface attending white party. Consistent with his irony. Okay, as long as we're, I guess, not playing a video, let's hope YouTube will be okay with our conversation today. Nancy, good morning to you. You should keep up with the Joneses. Just saying. Well, yeah, if your last name is that, I guess. In your case, you're already there, right? Thanks for that and catching that. And good morning to you. And Marianne says, I am curious as to why they go on strike, as it is their busiest time of year. Well, that's the whole reason unions will take the most impactful time to make the most impact when they choose to strike, regardless of you know, what industry you're in, and why wouldn't they pick the busiest time of year to strike, right? All that money they spent on EV trucks just sitting there, LOL, and they have the nerve to complain they're losing money, LOL, whatever. And again, the EV trucks have nothing to do with the pay that the workers are getting, right? And that's, I think, pay and other things the workers are asking for. I don't think they were going to strike if they didn't get EV trucks. I'm pretty sure on that. But yeah, I think that's more the government doing that because it is government owned. And Penny, good morning to you! Exclamation point. Good morning! Exclamation point. Hope you're having a great morning. And Belinda says, rust spots build character and gives vintage vibes. For sure. Rust spots and dents, as we have, I don't know, either more drivers or not as good drivers these days tend to get a lot of dents in my back bumper in parking lots. I don't know what's up with that, but both my cars have dents in the corner bumpers from people in parking lots these days. So and that also is a refreshing feeling when you only paid $2,500 for your vehicle, and it's a sound vehicle, and it's one of the best made vehicles of all time, and needs very little work, great on gas, and it's old enough that if someone backs into you in a parking lot and dents your bumper, you're like, oh, well, it's not going to ruin my day, you know? And it really does help. You don't, that's the worst thing. I remember getting a brand new vehicle, the only one I had in my life. And I took it home, and there was rain fall. It was in the winter, and it made ice on all the snowbanks, and my driveway had snowbanks on each side. I got out of my door, and I went up the snowbank, and I slid into my own vehicle and caused a dent in the driver's back door. Right after driving it home, brand new off the lot, had a dent right away. That's just a deflating feeling, And I was like, well, if it would have been a $2,500 used vehicle, it wouldn't have had as much bite to it when it happened, But it is what it is, and that's all coming off Belinda's statement this morning that she shared with us of, you don't have to always want more and to be rich, I'm just going to go back to it because I'm going to totally decimate your saying a rich person is not someone who has more, but someone who desires less. The world needs a big dose of simplicity. So yeah, that's all to go on that. Denise says, a light of Diddy's party. Remember 4,000 children were put on a bus in New York and tripped to Canada at the same time. Judo is putting a basement in his garage. Connections in my mind. Okay. So lots of things going on. If you look into these elitist parties that are bizarre, that do very evil things, a lot of times involving children, we don't want to go there in our minds, and I understand why. But for the children, I think we owe it to them to actually be aware of what's going on. Who's protecting them, right? Human trafficking, as we know, finally, it's kind of mainstream now. It does exist. It happens. It might not happen until it affects you or your family, right? In your mind, it might not really hit home, but it's very real. And it's unprecedented, the numbers of people that, including children, mostly children, that are taken and used for nefarious things, very cruel things, often ending very badly. And yeah, something that's hard to talk about, but finally getting some mainstream attention, which I'm very, very happy for. And good morning, Monique. Thanks for being on. Great to have you here. Marianne says, yep, censorship at its finest. And we have to be aware of that, right? So Dave is good. Yes, it's my mechanic. Honest mechanic, top notch, and we're praying for a quick and full recovery for him, for sure. 100%. Shout out to Dave, the mechanic. Best there is in my mind, but unfortunately, I don't want to advertise it too much because he's not in the greatest health and he won't be able to handle an influx of new customers at the moment, but hopefully in the near future. Jerome, good morning. All love the movie Kill Bill. There you go. Quentin Tarantino. I love the director. I love a few of his movies are some of my favorites. Marianne, bunch of sensitive Sallys. Yeah, we might be making the move to Rumble at some point soon. Josiah, good morning. Beautiful people. And good morning to yourself, Josiah. Thanks for being on. Vin says bought a 2013 pickup in September, super clean, Buffy backed into my front bumper Saturday morning while I was delivering him a free load of firewood. No good deed goes unpunished. That's exactly right. Oh, Buddy, not Buffy. Okay, Buddy backed into your bumper. It happens, right? It happens, and it's a lot easier to take if it's not a brand new vehicle. Marianne says in Barrie there was at least 5 to 10 accidents per day. The problem is people don't pay attention, or some drivers don't care for the rules of the road. Possibly people that are new on our roads, right? Not used to driving in our conditions or in our country, where some come from, there are no rules and they drive that way. It amazes me that they even pass the road test. Now, to that point, if you look at some countries and the way the traffic goes, the rules are the big vehicle, the biggest the vehicle is, has the right of way, and that's the rule. That's the only rule there is. And you have people on bikes, on mopeds, all sorts of small vehicles to large vehicles, and it's just like chaos in the streets. Mind you, there's very little accidents in these areas, and it's interesting that is the case. We have a whole different way of traveling here in North America. You know, you stay on your side of the road, we stay on our side. There's road ethics that are kind of unwritten road, the ethics of driving kind of thing, to be polite or whatever to other drivers. There's things that people think needs to be the case, but it's not really a rule. And it's the road is a really interesting place. And that's why you have road rage, because other people don't drive the way other people want you to drive. They think you need to drive a certain way. And, it's really cool. I thought that was going to be my whole career, was having a podcast on driving, actually. And I was going to write a book called The Drive Bible, or the Driving Bible, or the Road Bible was what it was. I even got the domain, theroadbible.com, about ethics in driving on the road. And, to get some formality going, and maybe all these drive test places and having commercials on TV every once in a while. Did you know that in Ontario, you can turn right on a red light unless it's posted otherwise, kind of thing? Because that's it's frustrating when you're behind somebody at a light and they're waiting. It's clear to turn right, but they're just sitting there thinking they can't turn right. That's just one small, example of driving on our roads where somebody's not, driving according to the signs and the laws and things. And anyways, I thought that was going to be my future, but anyways, what we think and what ends up happening are two different things. Vin, water off a duck's back. Exactly. Denise says missing and murdered children are down to the age of 14, and the number of missing are going up. And our children are in great danger, and I do not doubt that at all. And something needs to be done. Kidnapped children are either used or killed, or used in rooms tied to a bed, married to old men, and so on and so on. And yes, and they do have a value. It's like a commodity, a human commodity. The worth of selling people is terrible. Something that's been done ever since people have lived on the earth. However, we could be able to stop it. to secure a race, they will destroy another race, or one religion against another religion. Our world is so messed up. That's Denise for sure. Yes, big money is selling body parts. All high ups are a part of it. All sick POS. Correct. Okay, so exactly. And on that note, that's one of our stories of the day coming from the Sudbury Star. And I'm not sure here what was going on, but I think I know now. So the tree lighting outside the police station, this is from Sudbury Star, indigenous lives lost. So this is specifically about indigenous missing and murdered women, right? But we're talking about just the whole industry itself, about human trafficking itself is an epidemic these days. But in Sudbury, a sacred fire was kindled near the base of the big conifer outside the Greater Sudbury Police Station in Sudbury before its boughs came ablaze with orange bulbs. Lighted trees are a par for the course at this time of year, or will be soon, as the Christmas season kicks into high gear. But this was a different kind of moment where plenty of grief was mixed with a cheery glow. As Greater Sudbury Police Chief Sarah Cunningham noted, the lights represent the countless First Nation children who never returned home from their residential schools, as well as the many Indigenous women and girls who have been victims of violence. The Tree of Hope tradition was launched by the Thunder Bay Police Service in 2019 and has since spread to other communities across Canada, with the main goal being to commemorate missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, Two-Spirit, and gender diverse people, and ensure others are safe in the future. Now, a lot of movements in that meaning for lighting the tree. I guess they wanted to pack as many into that as they could, and there's a lot of diversity in that message. So I think it's just a matter of fact to include Two-Spirit and gender diverse people in that. Like, if you're a missing Indigenous person, a person qualifies you to be a woman, a man, a gender diverse person, a Two-Spirit person. I don't know why that has to be specified myself in there, but there's missing people, period, right? That's what the main thing is. I don't know how these other activist groups get this in there somehow. I think the main point is, regardless of what color, religion, race, sexual preference you have, if you're missing, you're missing. You're a person. You're a person. And a person matters. And the end result is the same for each person. And I think we should care about all humanity exactly the same, and not one particular segment or group. You don't care about one or another more. Now, you may make the argument that some are more vulnerable than others, and you can make that argument for sure. However, at the end of the day, vulnerable people come in many shapes and sizes and colors and creeds and religions and you name it. And I think if you just focus on human trafficking and missing people in general, and get to the bottom of this, and not be political and divisive in our what we think, which people are important and which people aren't, I think, I'm going to go out on a limb and say all people are important and all people matter, and we should be fighting for the rights of all people, no matter who they are. That covers everything then. Everyone's covered. It's about as all inclusive as you can get. As Justin Trudeau would say, people kind, right? So that's what we want to be able to be focusing on. So Marianne says organ selling is bigger than selling oil. Yes, I heard that as well. Yeah, humans are a commodity. It's terrible. Lucy, good morning to you. Yes, you can turn right on a red light, LOL. I go back to Quebec and my husband is peeved off that he cannot do the same thing. Correct. In Quebec, you don't turn right on a red, right? So that's just the thing. Marianne says rules should be the same across Canada, but for whatever reason, rules are different in every province. Um, 1 hour from me, they get cheaper car insurance. Yeah, that's interesting too, right? That shouldn't be the case. And Liette, good morning, everyone. Exclamation point. Good morning to you, Liette. Thanks for being on. And Vin says, well, Randy identified as Indigenous and profited greatly for it. Bossino? Randy Bossino? Yeah, that's interesting too. We'll be talking about profiting by being Indigenous in a moment as we see many protests going on around the city. That's the next story we're going to be covering. Human trafficking is a problem for everyone. There's always somebody that knows something or saw something. And if people were more attentive to what were the signs of human trafficking, that would be better for sure. Sadly, it's about the money. It's Marianne. Belinda, human trafficking comes in all ethnicities, and that is 100% true. Greed doesn't know anybody's color or race or religion, right? Greed is throughout humankind. Hearts are universal. We are one. Hey, that was a great segue off of what I just said. It's the opposite, right? Greed is universal, and so are hearts. We are one. And so greed knows no boundaries if you let it into your heart, right? It has the potential of getting in any heart and any person. And that always has to be in check. Follow the money. It never lies. Absolutely, says Marianne. Pat, good morning to you. Good morning, all. Smiley emoji. And yay, another POS that needs to go. Criminal, he is. And good morning, Andrew. Thanks for being on. So here we're talking about, and another story. A lot of drug dealers coming through Espanola getting caught by the OPP because the OPP are on fire around this area. If you're driving through the North Shore or Espanola, just know you do not speed. You do not do anything other than just obey every traffic law because they are out and out in force. And they've been out and they're finding all these drugs in cars as they've been pulling people over. These drug dealers from down south came up to Espanola. They had a girl in town doing a lot of drugs. I got her cleared out and they wanted to take her little children in and watch them while they traffic them. She's sober now, and those children are still in danger. Okay, so this is bringing it home, right, to our doorsteps and to our communities. It's happening here, and we need to be aware, and we need to be doing something about it. Now, someone who's doing something about something are the Indigenous people in the area. Atikameksheng, Anishinaabe people are demanding a vote on treaty settlement funds. This also coming from the Sudbury Star. Band members should be polled on how Atikameksheng handles its Robinson Huron Treaty settlement funds, say critics who set up an information picket on the edge of the reserve on Tuesday. So they said, we want the right to vote on important issues like this. The former chief of First Nation said on behalf of a group calling itself Atikameksheng Strong. We need to have our say in how this money is going to be managed and dealt with. I agree with that. Earlier this year, Atikameksheng received its share of landmark settlement acknowledging First Nation signatories to the Robinson Huron Treaty and had been shortchanged for decades in the amount paid to members through annuities. So those payments had been frozen at a meager $4 a person, but should have gone up over the years in connection with revenues generated from resource extraction to native land, the First Nation argued. The Ontario Superior Court agreed, and last year the parties in the legal dispute reached a deal that would deliver $10 billion from the province and federal governments to the 21 signatory First Nation, right? So that's coming from the Sudbury Star. The Sudbury.com also covering this story. So the spokesperson, the former chief, said again they want the right to vote. The treaty and annuities case has been ongoing since 2010. And it was meant to attach a dollar value to a clause in the original Robinson-Huron Treaty of 1850, one that saw those who lived on the land share a portion of the resource money. After the historic announcement of a $10 billion settlement reached in June 2023, leaders of the 21 signatory First Nations, including Atikameksheng and Anishinaabeg, have attempted to host education sessions to show members not only the path that led to the settlement, but what they feel was the original intent of the treaty, or the collective benefit. But others, including Atikameksheng Strong and members of the 5 other nations that Sudbury.com spoken to in the past, said they don't trust their leadership and wish to vote on how much of the money they are entitled to individually and how much will be administered by the band. Now, this is the thing, right? And I called it right off the hop as soon as they said they're going to give the money, to each band to do with what they please with, right? There's going to be some disputes going on here. And that's exactly what's happening. So some bands are giving everyone, I've heard as much as $400,000 a person. Some even said even more per person. Some are less, obviously. Some are coming in installments. Some are getting one big chunk. I don't believe, though, and I think that it's the case here as well, that the members of the bands feel that probably needs to be more transparency as well, right? Like, how much were we given? How many members are there? Who's distributing the money? Why are they distributing the money the way they are? Hey, when it comes to money, hey, any of you who've been through somebody passing away in your family, it's the thing that'll break up a family each and every time, is when when money comes into play, when someone passes away and there's an inheritance, and then the fighting is going to start right away, right? So this is no different. And I think it's it'll be very divisive for bands and not unifying. And I don't know, the thinking of it. Like, again, whenever the government does something, it seems to not be well thought out or planned, in my point of view. So first of all, they were wrong in not coming clean on the treaty in the first place. Like, that should have been done way back when. So all these people are already long gone by now. They will not be held accountable for what they did. But now the reckoning has come, and now our politicians today are saying, at least, okay, well, let's try and make this thing right. And in doing so, why make more problems with the solution, right? That's always been my motto. If you're going to have a solution, try not to create a further problem from the solution. And when you have the time to think it out, that's when you pre-think out what could possibly go wrong with this thing. And just handing billions of dollars to just say, okay, you do with it as you please, and with no kind of whatever. It should have been said, at least, okay, let's all agree first. Let's get all the bands together, and let's all agree on a unified way to deliver the money to all bands, to all members of all bands. So that way, not one band will feel someone got more than someone else or whatever, right? Because it's just creating more of the problem. The whole problem in the first place was that the money wasn't allocated fairly to begin with. That's the problem. The government didn't give them the money like they should have. And so why wasn't there, and that's what they're asking for, a vote on this, right? All First Nations should have gotten together and said, okay, this is the money coming and this is what we're all going to do. We're all going to do the exact same thing with all of our bands with this money. So that way not one band can't say to another one, oh, you got more than me, or, and create division. You want more unity amongst your people. You don't want division. This will definitely create division. There's no doubt about it. And, it's scientifically proven if somebody gets a big chunk of money and they're not used to managing large amounts of money, they will very quickly go right back to where they started in a short period of time. Hence, people who win the lottery. It's very well documented that people who win the lottery go from whatever position they are in life, and the ones that start off with the least amount of money who win the lottery end up spending the money quicker than those. Let's say somebody already has $1 million assets and whatever, they're worth $1 million on paper, and they win $1 million. Well, that person has more of a chance of keeping that money because they're used to handling money. It's a thing, handling money is a thing. You got to know what to do with it. And if you spend money the same way you do if you're not used to having money, when you have lots of money, you're going to end up with no money. And how is this helping people? You know what I mean? So not only should all the bands got together and figured out a way to equally spread the money to all the people in all of their bands the same way, that would have created, at least everything would have been fair. And then before the money was allocated, I don't know how they would have decided, maybe $50,000 a year for so many years would have been a wise way of distributing the money, possibly, right? Maybe pre-thinking out what could some of the things, the negatives be if we just give someone $400,000 one day, they have, their $30,000 in overdraft in their bank account, and the next day they have $370,000 to the good because they were given $400,000 in their bank account. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, wait a minute. Well, maybe we should allocate the money little by little, and it creates, sound practices in terms of money management. Okay, for the next 8 years, I'm going to get $50,000 a year, not $400,000 in one shot. And then you plan a little bit more. It just causes you now to plan for 8 years instead of just planning for the here and now. So along with something like that, I would have suggested to educate, have, experts coming in, or just maybe do it online, have courses that everyone needed to take before they received the money, like mandatory money management courses. There's nothing wrong with that. There's actually nothing wrong with learning how to manage money. It's not a terrible thing. Everybody should be learning how to manage their money. It's just a basic thing. And we all could do better on how we manage our money. We know that already. So then something should have been done like that, where here's options with your money. And, you could have done it online where everybody can just log in and it's recorded that this person did the course and whatever. And out of it, they go, oh, my goodness, with that $50,000 I'm getting this year, they just gave me some really great options that I never heard of before. I could do this. I could do that. Look, I don't have to do, and I don't even have to do what they're telling me. However, at least the onus is on the people giving the money that they've done everything in their power to do it in a way that's going to benefit the people the most, right? And not be detrimental to them. Like I hear stories of like rare vehicles, like on some remote reserve, like just a Maserati. You know what I mean? Like $200,000 car. Where are they going to service this car? Like where? Like it's going to cost $1,000 for an oil change. Things like this. It's just not well thought out, and it's not judgmental on people. It's again, I'm putting the onus on the people giving the money out, not on the people with it. If you're not educated, you can't really be accountable for it, right? So it's not judgmental in any way, shape, or form. But the money, could have done more good than it's going to do if there was some financial education that went along with the distribution of this money. Just not well thought out at all. Yeah. So here we are, right? Then we got this guy in Capriol winning $1 million. I love the headline of this. It seems to be the news creates themes for the day already. Capriol man shocked and pleased to win $1 million. Like, I almost want to put duh at the end of that headline, right? Who wouldn't be shocked and pleased to win $1 million? It's like, really? He's shocked and he's pleased? Yeah. So I guess, he won it on the encore. And this is another, driving is one pet peeve I have. Is someone's just sitting at a red light with their right blinker on and they're not turning. Well, another thing is when I'm just at the gas station and I'm just in and out, I just want to get in and out. I'm in a hurry, get my gas, go in. I don't like to pay at the pump for whatever reason. I like to go in and pay. And I see someone going in just ahead of me and they got a big bundle of tickets in their hands. I'm like, oh no. Some people use the gas station as if it's the casino, right? And again, no judgment. However, I'm trying to get in and out, and they're going to be there for a good 20 minutes. Do 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 do. It's like, okay, and they're adding all up everything they won, and and then obviously, what are they going to do after they get the winnings? They buy exactly the amount of money in their winnings with more tickets. And just buying tickets doesn't take a few seconds. It takes a while because, there's intuition and there's superstition involved in picking of your tickets. And it's taken quite a while. So 20 minutes later, as I'm waiting behind the person, and they're happy and they're telling the person, if I win, I'm going to remember you, and it's a happy experience and they're off because they know if they're not nice and polite to the person, it's going to be karma and they might not win, right? So they have to be as nice and polite to the person behind the counter as possible. This is just something I observe on a daily basis, and it's just interesting. I just think it's very interesting. And I know the person's not going to win, but then you get news headlines like this that I usually don't like to cover, but it goes along with the theme of the day of just a big chunk of money being delivered to somebody. And in this case, it's from the lottery. And the story's on Sudbury.com if you want to read more about it. But yeah, winning $1 million is more than one in a million. I'll just guarantee you that. And I often tell people, if you just saved your money, the $40 you spent a week on your lottery tickets, and you put it away, and in 40, 50 years, what would that look like if it was invested properly? You would win the lottery. You have more chances of winning that way than you do the way of winning the lottery. So a little bit of financial education this morning on the show, courtesy of yours truly. But again, and I know a lot of you probably play the lottery, and there's no disrespect from that. I've played the lottery before, just like anyone. Who hasn't, right? But I've just learned that it's probably a more sound decision that you're going to make more money on if you use the money you were going to pay for lottery tickets and put it away and got educated on how to invest money properly to get the best return. And I do know somebody who, as a colleague of mine, he's just a phenom when it comes to investing. He knows every single thing there is about it, and he loves to teach people. He loves to teach people about it. So if anyone's interested and you want to know more about how to invest your money properly and wisely, he knows everything and anything there is to know about it. I've learned so much just in a short period of time talking to him about it. That's all the time we got for the show. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys being on, listening, watching. And remember to stay aware, like and share, take care, and stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. And we'll be back same time, same place, on the same platforms, God willing, tomorrow. So have a great one, and ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.